We will now hear three shorter presentations from Satakunta University of Applied Sciences, Arcada University of Applied Sciences, and Novia University of Applied Sciences. So perhaps Sirpa Sandelin from Satakunta would like to go first.
Yes, thank you very much. I'll try to share my screen. I have some slides here. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, so I will tell you now some basic issues, so approaches which we have done to achieve this low carbon actions. So at this point, I'm not able to give you any concrete results yet because we are taking the first steps towards sustainability and low carbon actions. And just to mention that we have 4 faculties, so we are multidisciplinary higher education institute, and all of these faculties have links to sustainability, and some of them have links to carbon footprints and of course carbon handprints. And then our research groups, which we have multiple ones of them, so they all also do similar kind of work together with the surrounding industry and industry in Finland and also abroad. So we do this work, and we are committed to the RNS Sustainable Responsibility and Carbon Neutral Program. So we joined to that program last year, and our target is that we will be reducing our carbon footprint by 2030. So sustainability as a whole entity is an essential part of our strategy and policy, and that's why we have this Sustainable Development Working Group working nowadays. So started in January this year, and I'm one member of the group. We are now collecting all the actions we have done in the whole university together, so you can imagine the work that bits of work has been done there and there and there, and now we are trying to coordinate it. We have calculated our footprint also, but we are now taking the second round to calculate it. We also do responsible investments on forest funds. Also, we are or have some kind of partnership with the city of Pori concerning the climate commitments. So that has been valid already 5 years. So there are some actions which we have to take into account. And of course, our education programs have several issues dealing with sustainability and the carbon footprint and carbon handprint issues in very many ways. And what we have done in the area, so we have created or have been co-creating this kind of climate and energy strategy for our region. And it has several strategic areas, which also we try as a university to take part into and to increase the cooperation. So this kind of document is a toolbox for climate change mitigation issues, and it has been done in the Kanemure project, so towards carbon neutral municipalities and regions. So we try to express our actions also in this way, that we will try to cooperate with the regional and city organizations to create a better future for this area. Then I will give you some pictures of what we have done in our Pori campus. For example, we have 4 campuses. We don't own them, so we are in rented premises, so that gives us some limitations what we can do and what we can't do. So we have this kind of solar energy systems on our rooftop, and this system is run by our teachers and students, and all the information which we gather from this kind of systems we use in education and we use in research, and we try to, by this way, try to develop these energy issues in the better way. We also have this geothermal energy system in our campus area. This is only 1 year old, so there isn't very many data available yet. So basically all the systems which we have, there's a link for other systems, so we get information also from for example, the city swimming hall and environmental agency solar energy systems. So we have multiple ways to foster this kind of development, and teachers are involved in all of these actions. And one example also is this carbon neutral construction. This is a huge project which we run, and here we calculate those footprints. There are at least 9 different kinds of real sites, buildings, different sizes of buildings for which we have calculated these carbon footprints. And by the way, we have also been involved in the development of the footprint done by the Ministry of the Environment. So we have been deeply involved with this development work concerning footprint calculations. And from this site, you can also find some calculators, for example, refrigerators, washing machines. So everyone can calculate the energy consumption of their appliances and so on. So in that process, we also concentrate on circularity issues. So we have plenty of things going on, and also in the international scale. So all the work which we have done in the projects and during the lectures, we will now transfer to this international project concerning sustainable construction. And this is one good way to show also what we do. And as I said, we are not at the stage yet to say what kind of environmental program we have, what are the targets, what are the actions we do, or what are the indicators. So we have just been working for 1 year, and we have now a rough idea what we can do. And now we are in the stage that we try to figure out what are the most important indicators and what are the targets. So maybe next year we will have something more concrete, but I just wanted to show you that even though we don't have so nice presentations than previous ones had and so nice documents, strategies, we are doing the work, but you can imagine to put together all the work, it takes some time. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sirpa. And I would like to a little bit disagree with you, because you said you don't have any concrete things, but you really had very concrete things that you're doing and achieving. I think that's really important to appreciate that as well.
Yeah, I just mentioned that it is not yet in the printed form, so
yes,
so the work is taking place towards that. But we really recognize what we do, and we now have some kind of guideline how to proceed this work.
Yes, I agree, and we see from these concrete actions that you do that your handprint actually, even though you are not estimating it at the moment, so there is a significant handprint. So thank you so much. I think if we take these 3 presentations in a row and then have jointly time for questions. So if we now just next take Tomas Träskman from Arcada, University of Applied Science.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
And can you see my presentation?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Yes, So my name is Tomas Träskman, and I'm from Arcada. The first slides are I'm pretty much repeating what everybody has been saying here, that sustainability is very much at the center of our strategy as well, and it is present in everything from the education and research, the organizational culture, and on the campus. And as you can see also from my long title, Vice Dean for School of Engineering, Culture and Wellbeing, there is a sustainability aspect to having different schools where you actually are able to approach sustainability dilemmas and problems from different angles. So, for example, here is a combination of engineering, culture, and well-being. And here's just our strategy. And as you can see, sustainability is also very much part of this strategy and mentioned many times. Of course, in just about every meeting, network work meeting or seminar that I'm attending and you are attending, what we are discussing now is actually impact also. That what do these kind of words, what is the impact? And we are also part of the Arena Started initiative, and we aim at being carbon neutral by 2030, and also focusing not just on the footprint but also the ecological handprint. Then taking a little different approach than the earlier presentations, just looking at the education. Actually, sometimes it makes sense also to identify different labeling in terms of the teaching and learning about sustainability, and I'm quite new in my position and the responsibility of sustainability, so I've been trying to think about this, and what we have been working with both in research and education is try to think of this kind of labeling. Education about sustainability, education in sustainability, and education for sustainability. And it becomes quite obvious that many times in the first introductory courses, it's very much education about sustainability. But for University of Applied Sciences, the third actually, education for sustainability, where there's some kind of transformative aim for the education is quite natural in our whole pedagogy. So this is very important, but it might actually not happen on the first year. I just finished a course called Teamwork and Innovation, and even though we worked with SDG goals started from there, it's a 5 study point course. It's you don't achieve that much transformation at that level yet, but then later in the studies. And here a dilemma when it comes to education, and this is quote from 2 authors from 2008, Gao and Scott. They say a sustainable world will require more than just a cadre of sustainable development specialists, and a world in which everyone was first and foremost an expert on sustainable development would hardly be sustainable. And this we started to identify that of course we could think that we solve the problems by having more experts on sustainability, but what these authors are saying that it's actually not so. And what we've started to identify that in the different curricula and the competencies that students learn, actually many of the competencies that they learn can be applied to sustainable development. And this is quite important because many times in terms of why people get climate anxiety is because they identify in their field, let's say it's culture or well-being or welfare, that they're not doing enough, and then they think that they need a different set of skills and competencies to solve these problems. But many times, actually, the competencies that they already have learned can be used for sustainability challenges. So that's how we now try to think of this in terms of the education, that actually this diversity, the students are not supposed to all become sustainability experts, but identify what they can do with their skills actually to bring a more nuanced palette to solve sustainability problems. Then just how this is very early, so we have we apply all the UNESCO SDG goals now in both our new curricula that were introduced last year. So in the system that we're using now, actually moving to a new system, SISU, but there all the SDG goals are addressed in all study units in every curricula for every education. And the same goes for the research projects that we try to identify that actually which SDG goal does this, or sometimes they address many of the different goals. Then in terms of inclusion, of course, well, in 2020, 15% of our degree students came from abroad. And this is, of course, great in terms of inclusion, but then in terms of carbon footprint, this is a challenge. So this just mirrors the dilemmas we're facing when we are doing different decisions. So more international means more inclusion, but what does that actually do to the carbon footprint? And then in terms of many have touched upon a sustainable campus, we're quite we're a small university of applied sciences, and we're all on one campus. That already makes us in a way more sustainable. But of course, we work on this all the time, and the fact that we're in the city center of Helsinki, it brings certain advantages, like great public transport, for example. Then we have been already for quite a while part of the WWF Green Office, and it's interesting how many different climate calculators are actually offered to different organizations, and this is just, and we're following these things, our footprint, but I'm glad to see that there are more and more nuanced indicators that are being developed. So this we are still learning. And as the former presenter, we also have, well, we have a flat roof, so it's a wonderful place to have solar panels. So we also have our solar panels, and here are some of the implications of that. And that was all for me. There's more information on our website and, yes, different social media. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Tomas. There were some really interesting thoughts there, and we were all nodding here that we really agree with some of your comments and thoughts there. So it was very, very interesting. Thank you so much. I think we now take Otto's presentation and then have some time for questions and comments.
Okay, my name is Otto Långvik. Thank you for the opportunity to present. I have to now, my title is research coordinator, so I'm partly involved in the sustainability things here at Novia, but I got the opportunity to present yesterday because I think we had some changes in the schedules here at Novia. So So the primary person in charge for the sustainability work here at Novia couldn't attend today, so I got the possibility to present. But let's see. I put together a few slides, and it has been interesting to participate in the workshop or the webinar here. I don't know if I have that much new. It's similar things that maybe we have in our organization. It's very much similar to the others that have presented already. So let's see if I can bring anything new to the discussion. As previously, also quite often you start with by pointing out that the sustainability is there in our strategy, well visible. We have a leaflet or a booklet of a strategy, so I took only one picture from this strategy, but to describe, we have the foundation, and then we have the values in our organization, and one of the three values is the sustainability. And then if we go upwards in the figure or a picture here, so we have the areas of strength that we have defined within Novia. So sustainable solutions is there, quite visible. Good to maybe mention the entrepreneurship and Nordic dimension also there. But then we have, if you go upwards still one step, this comes actually quite close to my everyday tasks. I'm the RDI coordinator, so the areas of expertise is within the RDI activities here at Novia. So there we have sustainable energy technology and the bioeconomy and sustainable use of natural resources. But I have to point out that the RDI activities here are quite much interconnected, and this is something that we also even try to, I will maybe touch this a bit later in the presentation. I saw and I understood that many of you have also included the handprints. Now, I'm sorry to mention, but I don't have that many handprints of practical operations in my presentation, but they are quite similar to the ones that presented. But of course, if you have RDI activities within these areas that I mentioned, just so then of course there is a lot of spillover to the society, and that's also of course one of the aims and goals that we have. And then we have the strategic goals of there on the top, global orientation for a sustainable future. I think that's well something we can agree on. One slide about the sustainability at Novia and the SDGs. SDGs has been mentioned here also in the last presentation by Arcada. So the work at Novia, how we have approached this sustainability, the distribution of the information and the education of the staff has been carried out or started. We are not that far as University of Turku or Jyväskylä in our processes by any means. I think it's very wonderful to listen and take part of the work you do at the universities there. But of course, the process regarding the sustainability is anchored now quite recently. We have, I don't know, of course, it has been there in the strategy, but it has been increasing in the executive board on the discussions and the development. It's good. It starts, I have to mention, it's not only from top down, it's also coming here in Novia very much from bottom up also. I see this in my everyday task within RDI activities. So that's a good sign, I have to. So we are all aiming for the same target, of course, by different means, but they're complementary, of course. The sustainability of the organization has been approached by processing how well the object and goals within Novia are in accordance with or focused on the object of the SDGs. This is something ongoing still. I have a few different levels and different areas in Novia. Now, Arcada mentioned in the last presentation that they have one campus. Here in this context, I have to maybe remind you that Novia is exceptional, maybe in this in the geographical distribution. We have campuses all the way from Jakobstad, Pietarsaari up there in north, and Vaasa has the biggest campus areas. Then we have two in Turku, and I'm sitting physically at the moment in Raseborg, Ekenäs. So our distances in between the campuses are quite huge, especially if you compare with the size of the university. So that is maybe something good to remember in this context. Both the RDI and education sectors have been working with the parallel with this SDGs, of course, in all areas, as I maybe mentioned. The two last dots here on this slide, the RDI sector, this is one thing I want to maybe go a bit more deeply in. The RDI sector at Novia has carried out a strategic development process during last winter, and the SDGs were quite heavily involved partly in that process. The education sector has then at Novia has been working with this at the faculty meetings and beyond. I don't have that good picture because of I have not been involved in the education side but I know that this is something I discussed yesterday, and I know that they are doing in the same way as Arcada also. I think I have in the following slides that the SDGs are there visible in this curricula in all the courses, or that's at least the target. But then a bit more about the RDI. 5 faculties, we are divided in 5 different faculties, and we have then 6 RDI areas of expertise, those that you saw there in the picture from the strategy. Several different ongoing projects within the different RDI are focusing on sustainability from very many different angles. I'm sorry to say again that I don't have the handprints now maybe included in the presentation today. The strategy development process of for the RDI within Novia included many other areas than the sustainable. Nevertheless, regarding sustainability now in this process that I mentioned, every area of expertise selected the SDGs that they found most relevant for the RDI focus area. The development process produced 2 different types of one-page materials. The latter included SDGs selected. I don't have these. They are actually very soon ready because they are in the graphical design, or so they will be published and available online probably within a few weeks now. Then the RDI strategy development group were evaluating the RDI profiles. The world sustainability actually rose as a key objective competence area for all the areas of expertise. So as I mentioned, all the different areas of RDI are looking at the same things there from very many different angles. And then how we selected the SDGs that for the whole Novia RDI, these different areas of expertise, then if you have enough of hits, then then we'll include this in the whole RDI documentation. This was maybe mentioned, I don't know, was it Jyväskylä who had this the impact ranking. This is a tool that I recommend quite warmly. Before I was research coordinator, I was actively participating in the research here at Novia, and I was then also using this same tool. Then we have not maybe made this evaluation or gotten the certificate, but this is a very useful tool, and I recommend it warmly. It has been very useful for RDI staff here to use this, so I recommend it warmly. Then a few dots from the education activities, as also I maybe mentioned, and Arcada also have the SDGs are then anchored at every faculty and included in the curricula for the courses in the syllabus for every course. One of the objectives is to make the sustainable work at Novia visible also for the students, and this is of course a goal that we have in common in all the higher education institutions. And as also previously mentioned in the other presentations, we are also committed to the Arenes program for the sustainable development. They also mentioned the United Nations agenda. ministry also. And then we have the recognizes importance of education, and this is the way, as was mentioned earlier, also achieving the changes and structural changes in the society. Interestingly, now to mention sustainable development, sometimes it's divided in 3 different sectors. Now in this arena, they have a separated social and cultural areas. It's interesting because actually the culture faculty within Novia is very much on the edge and pushing the processes here forward. So that's very nice to see. For universities of applied sciences, responsibility means that taking counting the direct and indirect impacts, and business areas very much RDI activities, of course, include the society there on the business side, and everyday activities. Good. How to proceed? I think it's the last slide here. A complement to the carbon footprint for Novia as a whole organization measured using the Arenas model. I don't have the numbers here to present to you. Sorry about that, but it's ongoing. I don't know if we will both probably then publish it next year. I think they have some preliminary figures from last year, but I think it will be presented on the basis of 2022. So that means that next year that it will be hopefully more solid, the work. And as I mentioned that these arts and humanities, they actually are separate than more advanced process for determination of the carbon footprint, and try to also affect the carbon footprint there in Jakobstad. This is the campus there in Jakobstad, with some additional outer help from Spark Sustainability. The whole faculty staff is included and will of course participate in the implementation and sustainability work project. At Novia has been applying for some extra funds in order to be more resourcefully organized. This is an issue. It's good to see that you have at the universities there, you have sustainability specialist staff there in your organization. We don't have it yet here. Let's see if we will at some point, or how we will organize that. Let's see. It's ongoing. Novia is working on developing the sustainability activities and making them more visible throughout the organization, increasing the visibility towards stakeholders also. I think the stakeholders is good to mention here. And we will soon launch more material then. I will try to answer some questions if available then, together with the other presenters. Thank you.